Hi students, it's Mr. Weaver, and this week we're going to be talking about the layers of rock in the Grand Canyon. You probably already noticed them, those wavy strips of different colors of rock, as you look at pictures of the Grand Canyon. We're going to start off our exploration of this by just making a simple model of the Grand Canyon and the layers of those rocks using a story about some hikers going down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. We're going to use this cup here to be my Grand Canyon, and we're going to use some different colors of sand to represent those layers of rock. So here's our story, and you should see a picture here, if I know what I'm doing, of some tourists getting ready to hike down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. My dad actually did this. I should ask him about what kind of layers he saw. A group of tourists wants to hike from the rim of the Grand Canyon or up at the top all the way down to the base or to the bottom where the Colorado River would be. The tour guide organizes a hike. As they start to hike down, they see different fossils in the different rock layers along the way. First, right up near the top at the rim, they see a shark tooth fossil. About a third of the way down in the canyon, they see the imprints of some pine leaves in rock. Towards the end of their hike, down at the bottom, they see a trilobite fossil. At the bottom of the canyon, they set up camp and they spend the night. Let's see if we can put these fossils in order. What's the very first one they saw? Well, coming down from the top, the first one that they saw was the shark tooth. I'm not ready to place that yet, though. Next down, they saw a pine tree imprinted in some rock. That's still second layer up, though. We need to go down one more. At the very bottom, they saw a trilobite fossil. This is going to be our oldest fossil because it's all the way down at the bottom. That's the one that got placed first. Let's use some green sand to sand for our oldest layer. Just pour some of that green sand in, make sure it's deep enough. All right. And just so that I remember that this is my oldest layer, I'm going to take this picture of a trilobite fossil. Again, you probably can't see my small one, but hopefully there's one right here for you. Shake my sand out a little bit. And we know that this layer is the oldest because it got placed down first. It's way down here at the bottom. What's the middle thing that they saw? Those pine leaves stuck in the rock or imprinted on the rock. That's our second layer that was laid down. We're going to use some red sand to stand for that layer. Not intentionally Christmassy, but here we are. Here's that second layer. You can see them kind of laying on top of one another, and this is our medium layer. Still old, but not quite as old as that trilobite layer. In this second layer, we saw this pine fossil. Oh, I haven't quite covered it yet. Let's put in a little more red sand. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. And the very first thing that they saw coming down from the top of the canyon was our shark tooth. Let's build in another layer for that shark tooth. We'll place that up here. Now the most important, I'll use black to stand for this layer. Oop, pouring it on my table. The most important thing we want you to know about these three layers is that our oldest is down here at the bottom. This layer with the trilobite was placed first. We can tell it's the oldest because we find trilobite fossils there, and we know when those lived. In the next layer, we see pine trees. We know that those would have grown up next and been imprinted in the fossil layer. And last, we see the shark tooth, and we know that that's the youngest. If we were to stand in the Grand Canyon and travel back in time, first thing we would see come back to life is a shark. Shark tooth, some kind of ocean would be there. And then as we travel a little bit further back, maybe that's gone, and now we see some trees standing in this area growing out of the soil and falling over and getting imprinted into the rock. And if we went even further back, we might see an ocean with little trilobites scurrying around and then falling down to this layer and getting fossilized in the rock. We'll talk some more about the process of that happening as we continue to explore this week. For now, though, just keep in mind, oldest layer in the Grand Canyon is down at the bottom, newest or youngest layer is all the way up at the top. Thanks for joining me today.